Hello friends and welcome to the channel. I'm Handington and today we're playing SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I am so excited for this. It came out at a time... Oh, this was made on the Unreal Engine? Oh, wow. I didn't realize they completely remade it on the Unreal Engine. Interesting. Nickelodeon, THQ Nordic, and Purple Lamp. So, I was excited. My father's briefly out of the house at the moment. Like, he's literally just standing outside of the house watering the lawn. I'm downstairs. I'm recording this series. I'm gonna have to try and keep it a little low, and I can only do 2 episodes at a time. So it'll be a little bit slow with me doing this series. Oh, cool. Yay, THQ Nordic. And then it becomes SpongeBob, then it becomes Scribbles. And then Purple Lamp, the awesome team behind this. Oh, I'm so excited.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh.
Ah, there it is, at last. Now, I loaded this up briefly before, and it got stuck on the screen before the bubbles showed up, so it was just kind of stuck on there before. I've heard of some glitches, first day glitches for the game that are a little bit wonky at times. Sometimes the game will just kind of go completely black, and then things will be a little bit weird. Oh, look at that, he's playing his nose. Yay! Oh, I'm so excited for this. So basically, this game technically was first thought to not be possible to exist because THQ went out of business. They went bankrupt, and with it, the rights to a lot of the games that they had. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, so there'll never be Battle for Bikini Bottom with an HD remaster," and turns out there was a bit of a loophole because there's a Nordic division of THQ, which is why you saw THQ Nordic, and they have the rights to a lot of these great older Nickelodeon games. And while there are plenty of other older Nickelodeon games that were definitely fun and could use a remaster, this is by far one of the most beloved published games by THQ. Now, this was originally made by Heavy Iron Studios, an absolute incredible studio. They made this game. They made the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game. I don't remember if they made Creatures from the Krusty Krab or not. And then they also came back one more time to make Truth or Square. And those 4 that I just mentioned are the 4 most beloved SpongeBob games, essentially. And some of the Game Boy Advance variants that were pretty fun as well. But the CGI 3D ones, those are the beloved ones. And originally it didn't seem like this game would be possible, but THQ Nordic had the rights. There was an audience, there was enough people asking for it. Came as a total surprise to everybody when it launched. And it was amazing when that happened, and I loved little bits of the trailer and stuff released to show how much they really cared about making this game awesome. Like how in the trailer they animated SpongeBob excited. They have him doing like an actual hand salute look with the helmet that he finds, and then for a second he turns his hand so that it looks like it does on the box cover, because technically on the box cover you wouldn't be able to, like, his hand wouldn't be that way. It wouldn't really make too much sense. So they did it just for a second to emulate the box cover, and then he does the little loo sound, and it's just... It filled me with such hope, and I saw that they even had, like, quite some time back, they even had the full Jellyfish Fields where everything bounced and it had a really good squish to it, and it looked great. From what I've seen on Twitter about some people, talking about some things, the game looks a little oversaturated compared to the earlier version. This is something that's different, but still good. The other one, I enjoyed the look of the other one. But somebody pointed out that it does kind of look like a desert, whereas here it feels a lot more like you're underwater. This is especially due to the fact that there's even more of a rendering distance for stuff in the background. You can, I think there are a couple more models for stuff in the background. But I mean, they did use models in the background to show distance before, so it wasn't just PNGs. Like on the Nintendo 64, like with the Ocarina of Time or Hyrule Castletown, where it's literally just a flat picture. Oh, my father's back inside, so I'm gonna have to lower my voice. Where it was literally just a flat picture, and then they had like a green screen, and then they just put the picture behind it. So here they have a bit more of a draw distance. You can see more underwater stuff. This feels a little bit more like it's sand as opposed to just the desert, although there was still texture in the original game. There were a lot of nice little touches scattered throughout. And Purple Lamp, for a number of things, from what I can tell, they kept most things in. Some things they changed, but rather than changing it for the worse, like with the Majora's Mask 3D change where they made the Zora swimming just really a lot worse than it was before, which you can argue some positives to it, where it's like, oh, it makes the Romani milk a bit more valuable because now you got to use that and you got to plan a little bit more. But still, it didn't need to be changed. That was a bit of an annoying change. The only thing that seems like it was changed a little bit negatively was that there's a scene with Mrs. Puff where they changed her from being a bit more ominous and shaking to being a bit more smug. I won't spoil the joke, but it messes with the scene a little bit, where it's a little less fun, but it is still a different feel to it. So it's not like they just changed it and then it's flat or whatever. So a lot of work went into this. There was always the talk about the cut robot Squidward boss fight that you see in the movie theater if you unlock it, of old concept art. And that boss is actually in the Game Boy Advance version of this, which is not as good as this version, but it had the robot Squidward fight, which was cool. And they added that in for a multiplayer mode in here, which was super awesome that they were interested in bringing back some cut content. I don't know all the stuff they brought back. I don't know if they brought back, what do you call it, like the initial idea for Patrick's Dream, which would actually be reworked into I'm Ready Depression from the SpongeBob movie game. So there's a couple of things that I imagine you could point out and poke some holes in and be like, okay, well, this isn't exactly the best, because it's not like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece of gaming, but it is in our hearts, and that at the end of the day is what's most important. A lot of people, there was a great Twitter joke where there was this scene of SpongeBob being held out of the curtain by Squidward, and then Squidward poking his face out, except they didn't even need to replace SpongeBob's face because it's literally a SpongeBob game, but they replaced Squidward's face with The Last of Us Part 2, because even though that game is critically acclaimed, a lot of people really hate it. Whereas this was not as well critically acclaimed, but everybody loves it. So, who cares? It is fun. It is still fun. It's Mario 64, but with SpongeBob, with tons of little touches and details to make it fun. If you don't know the show, if you do know the show, and it's just a fantastic platformer all around. I am so excited to dive into this. It's been years since I've played it again. I 100%ed Battle for Bikini Bottom. Technically, I 100%ed it, but I messed up on the Kelp Forest slide. I jumped into the teleporter box, and then it teleported me back and didn't give me the spatula. And I had a friend over, and then my friend helped me to re-beat that thing. So I beat the entire game myself. On that save cartridge, I just haven't gotten all the shiny objects in the SpongeBall arena because I was saving it and just never got back to it. So this is the first time I've purchased essentially a second copy of a game I already own. Except this is the HD remaster, Rehydrated. This game seemed like it would never be possible to exist due to licensing rights, and it exists. So I was like, all right, I'm pre-ordering this. I pre-ordered it. This is the first game I've ever pre-ordered, by the way, and it was a little bit cheaper when pre-ordering it. I set aside money specifically to do this, and I got it specifically so we can play it here. Another thing, they didn't sterilize it so that the door is perfectly even. It's a little bit lumpy and a little off shape. The door frame is not perfectly even. And then on this side over here, and in this part, it's a little bit wider. On this section, a little bit smaller. And the house, SpongeBob's Pineapple House, looks like a painting on the house. Even the leaves look like a painting. It feels like SpongeBob, where they have the feeling of 3D models that look like paintings. SpongeBob uses the really awesome new 3D look that they have for him. I like this model. The original SpongeBob models for the characters are fantastic early GameCube models. They are really good and very well articulated. And they put in that work onto these models. Look at the way that he bounces as he moves and he stretches. They added the life to this, and it looks great. I am so excited. One definite negative though. They changed the teleportation boxes. I saw this also online. They changed it so now you jump in the box, then it just fades to black, and then you appear in the box we're on the next side, and you have to jump out yourself. 100% downgrade from the original boxes, where you'd get in the box, it would violently shake, it would close itself, violently shake, instantly transport you over to the next area, and then it would continue to shake, and then it would launch you out of the box with a flurry of bubbles. That was awesome, that was fun, that was full of character. The other one, it feels like if you somehow fell down a ditch, but you're going down a warp pipe in Mario, like in Mario 64, except they still... Yeah, like in Mario 64, except not fun. That's how they changed the teleportation boxes. I hope that gets patched in an update someday, because that's disappointing. The only thing that they could have changed is that if you jump in the box, the character model could disappear, because you could kind of see the character model when they're standing in the box, and the camera just kind of zooms in. That could be adjusted, in the remaster where you don't see the character but the box still moves. So I don't know what was up with that, but this is a good enough game where honestly it's still worth pointing out, but it's not going to hinder the experience. I'm also playing this with a keyboard because I don't own any controllers yet, but I am sending away for some, so I don't know what the controls will be. Let us start. I've talked on long enough. There we go. Options. Oh, video settings. Let me see. Please set it to oh, okay. Wait. So the entire game is all full screen. And in windowed, it's also full screen. Can't escape the game window. I don't know if this is recording. This is good resolution. I don't know what VSync is. Camera correction. Back. Let's see. Gameplay settings. Smart camera. Invert controls. Vibration. Oh, cool. Alright, we'll go back. Language settings. Audio settings. Well, the windowed mode doesn't let me get to anything up on the top. It just stops the mouse. I don't know if OBS is working. Oh, I just tapped the bottom. Never mind. Okay, figured that one out. Yay, alright. Well, now I know how that works. Okay, good. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Oh, and then hitting escape. Alright, this was something I was worried about. Oh, now there's a window. Okay. I was a little confused, but that works. Oh, and multiplayer is unlocked right from the start. Oh yeah, it has local multiplayer and other stuff where you can do it either online or locally, which is awesome. This is definitely, I don't know how it plays, but this is definitely a solid direction on what you'd want to do when making a remake. Alright, I've talked on quite long enough, but this game needs prefacing for my excitement. New game.